Okay, so welcome everyone to the 2023 MYOB Digital Challenge Finals. My name is Matt. I'm from UACC, the University of Auckland Case Club. So helping organize this competition this year alongside Grace, as well as Shaylin from MYOB. First of all, congratulations to all the teams who made it through. There's some amazing submissions this year, and we can't wait to see what improvements you've made this week. With regard to logistics for the event, all the teams are expected to stay until the end of the event. The event is expected to run about 3.5 hours, including presentations, Q&A, and the result announcements. A reminder for all the teams, you are given 10 minutes to present, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A from the judges. We will give you a 1-minute warning in the chat. Then following the 10 minutes, we will let you finish your sentence and then cut you off. I'll now pass it over to Shaylin to introduce himself and the judges.
Excellent, thanks team. So as Matt said, welcome to the MYOB Digital Challenge 2023. My name is Shaylin and I manage the education channel for MYOB, and I've been working with the University of Auckland Case Club for a good few years now to bring this competition to students from across the region, Australia and New Zealand. Big thanks to Matt and Grace for all their hard work so far. So this is now the 9th competition that we've been running since 2015, and over 2,000 students have registered to compete since then, and we've awarded over $65,000 worth of prize money to some very deserving students. Congratulations to the 18 students that are here today. This year alone, we had over 300 students from across 24 different universities in Australia and New Zealand compete. So an amazing job to get this far. And it seems that this year, the cream of the crop are from 2 universities, Auckland and Melbourne. So all the teams represent those 2, with 1 student from Monash University breaking the trend in one of the Melbourne teams. A big thank you to our judges. So it's the second time, it's at least the second time for all the MYOB judges. We have Darren Smith, our Chief Product and Technology Officer, Caroline Rawlinson, our Chief Financial Officer, and Kim Clark, our General Manager for Enterprise. And a very warm welcome and thanks to Shane from Microsoft, Chief Architect there, for joining us today. So this is the 3rd event Shane has been involved in with MYOB in the recent weeks. So very familiar with us, and I know the students are going to benefit hugely from presenting to Shane and all the rest of the judges. So good luck to everyone, enjoy it. This year, especially given the AI nature, we've had some of the best submissions. The regional round was very competitive, difficult for the regional judges to pick the top 6. So we all can't wait to see the presentations today. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions before we get started? Okay, so team BHK, could you please share your screen? And after team BHK is team Geminis will present.
Cool, just checking you guys can all see this.
Yeah. Yep, start when you're ready.
Thank you guys for the introduction. Kia ora, my name is Hutton and I'm here with Emily and Ethan, and we are Team BHK. When you're deciding to make a purchase or visit a business, you usually start with a Google search on the product or service you're usually looking to buy. You look at the company's website and social media posts, but often the deciding factor is what people have to say in their reviews. In most cases, interacting with online reviews and comprehending their sentiment poses a challenge for small and medium-sized enterprises. Today, we'll be talking about a mobile app solution, Waffle, that could address and solve this problem. I'll hand it over to Emily.
Thanks, Hutton. Online reviews have substantial value for businesses. In fact, 98% of consumers read online reviews before purchasing. As a result, these online reviews could be seen as one of the most effective marketing tools, especially for smaller local businesses. Despite the impact of reviews on future customers, only 26% of businesses always respond to them, even though many experts say this is essential for SMEs to do. When and how a business responds to these reviews can have just as much impact on its reputation as what is being said in the first place. 53% of customers expect businesses to respond to negative reviews within a week. If a business were to respond to at least the negative reviews, 45% of consumers say it would be more likely that they would visit the business.
This data shows that it's more appealing to customers when online reviews are replied to. However, research shows that SMEs prioritize other areas of their business, spending their money on operation, employee, and supply costs, leaving a limited budget for managing their online reviews. Monitoring and responding to online reviews across various platforms can also be challenging in terms of time, especially for smaller businesses with limited staff. In addition, understanding and effectively managing online reviews requires a certain level of expertise about management and customer engagement. SMEs may lack the necessary skills to navigate online review platforms in a constructive and professional manner. As a result, BHK created Waffle, a powerful mobile app designed to simplify the management and analysis of customer reviews. Waffle brings all your reviews from Google, Facebook, TripAdvisor, and many more into one easy place, and uses generative AI to assist SMEs in analyzing and responding to reviews in a timely, professional manner. I'll hand it to Emily, where she'll give us an app demo.
Awesome, cool. So just jumping over to the prototype. So we start with the login page, and we're going to walk through the app through the perspective of John, and he's owner of Bean Cafe. So John is signing up for the first time, so let's assume he signs in with Google. And so Waffle will detect his business, and so let's say this is his cafe, so he clicks yes, and then he's prompted to select which platforms he wants to grab his reviews from. So since he's a cafe, we'll tick all of them except for Trade Me. Cool. Waffle will begin collecting his data and reviews, and so we get the dashboard. So John is able to see Waffle's analytics graphs showing the overall distribution of positive, negative, and mixed reviews. Below we have a graph showing sentiment analysis towards his business over time. And up here at the top, John is able to, he's able to tick, unselect and select the platforms he wants to see, and say he also wants to change the time filter for these graphs. So we'll go 2019 to 2021, and clicking update updates the graphs correspondingly. Through the navigation bar, we can go to the review management dashboard. And this is where we see an AI-generated overall feedback from Bean Cafe's reviews, assisting on what John's next step could be for the business. Waffle has also used AI sentiment analysis tools to categorize the reviews into positive, negative, and mixed. So for example, click on the negative reviews, and we see here we have all the latest unanswered reviews sorted in chronological order. So let's see the first one. So this is where our main aspect of the generative AI comes in. So we have the where the review comes from up here, the star rating, the review, and the AI generated response. So John has the option to regenerate, edit manually, or send the response. Let's say he is unhappy with the response, so he regenerates it. And as we can see, the AI provides a new response. And so let's say he's happy with this, and he can send it off. So lastly, John can check up down here on the products page. So he navigates here the most identified products from the reviews. And so let's say he clicks on a product, and for example, waffle, he sees snippets of reviews that contain the word waffle. And also all the images in this are collected and labeled using AI based on photos posted on customers' reviews. And yeah, that's what we have. So I'll pass back on to Ethan with the architecture.
Thanks, Emily. Our app's front end is built using React Native, ensuring cross-compatibility and seamless user experience. To process and analyze reviews, we'd leverage AWS API Gateway and Lambda functions, which enables efficient data handling. In addition, we'd integrate with vendors' APIs to gather the review data. AWS SageMaker is utilized for generating responses to reviews by deploying GPT natural language model to our app. Sentiment analysis is performed using AWS Cognito, with the results stored in DynamoDB for easy access and retrieval. For simplified development and deployment, we rely on AWS Amplify, which handles user authentication and data storage through AWS Cognito. Daily updates for new reviews are made possible through AppSync, providing users with access to daily new information. Our market analysis reveals a promising landscape for Waffle, targeting 550,000 SMEs in New Zealand. We calculated that hiring staff to respond to the reviews could cost at least $6,000. Waffle focuses on the affordability and tailored features for our clients. Due to a lack of similar products on the market, we aim to become a trusted tool for SMEs looking to enhance their online reputation and customer satisfaction. An app was chosen to allow for busy business owners to access it while on the go, without the need to stop what they're doing or move to a different location.
Our app offers essential functionality through a subscription-based model, providing an affordable price of $45 per month. By simplifying the app and focusing on the needs of our target market, we eliminate the need for costly infrastructure while still delivering the necessary features. Our revenue primarily comes from subscription, and we invest in the app development and marketing to attract a large user base. When it comes to marketing, Waffle will be using social media advertisements through platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google, where Waffle can maximize visibility and engage with our target audience. We also aim to partner with MYOB by listing our app on their marketplace, as well as creating effective campaigns that generate interest in our local communities to expand our network further.
From now, we would start by hiring a developing team to help us finish prototyping and developing our app. This would take about 2 months. The next 5 months would then be focused on beta testing, releasing the first version of Waffle to 30 SMEs and getting feedback on improvements that could be made. After this, we'd spend 3 months marketing our product, after which we'd launch. From here, we'd be focusing on managing our clientele and improving user experience.
Based on our data, we anticipate achieving 500 monthly active users within 12 months after launching our app. With an average cost of $20 per user and $55,000 in startup costs, it will take us approximately 1 year to reach break even on our initial investment. Within 21 months of launching, we project a profit of $225,000. This indicates a positive growth trajectory and demonstrates the potential for generating substantial revenue for our company. Waffle's future growth plan is to expand to the Australian market, enabling us to reach a broader customer base of 2.5 million SMEs. As our clientele grows, we aim to add more platforms such as Instagram to gather greater review data. Future growth would also include training the generative AI model to tailor responses towards New Zealand and Australian dialects. This enables AI to comprehend and generate responses that are more understandable for our target market. To assist our customers further, Waffle could offer different tones of response, such as a passive or apologetic, giving our users the choice of how they would like to respond. In conclusion, BHK's objective is to provide a solution to SMEs that struggle with analysing and responding to online customer review. Waffle simplifies this process by providing a comprehensive platform that integrates generative AI. With low price and easy to use interface, businesses will be able to improve their reputation and attract more customers in the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that, team. I think we'll move on to the 10-minute Q&A now.
Darren and Kim, we agreed that the order the judges showed up was the order the questions were allowed to be asked. So Shane, over to you. Because you were last, you get no say. It was an executive decision in your absence.
Thanks, Caroline. Team, awesome. It solves genuinely a real problem out there, to have those reviews being aggregated here. Look, I actually, really quite like your session. I would ask you probably from a tech perspective, being today I work for Microsoft, but I previously worked for the other cloud provider. I think your comments around sentiment analysis around Cognito, obviously Cognito is your IDP, data storage, etc. So probably just to be a bit tighter on that. And look, I think the other broad comment I would have is fixed price solution based on variable input costs. So let's just say I have, and I really like the fact that you did have I guess image classification. That stuff can be computationally expensive. How about if an organization may have, I don't know, hundreds or maybe even thousands of different unique products? How does that, factor in terms of costs on your end? So look, I guess not really a question, but more so just some broad comments. Well done. And I look forward to having something like Waffle being available potentially by yourselves or, into market in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, probably a great segue to my first question is, what competitors are there out there to this kind of product? And talk to me about the competitor environment and how this differentiates from other similar tools, if there are any.
Yeah, sure. So we've done competitive analysis as well, and we found Brand24 and Monkey Learn to be the two biggest competitors to us. And they're not, Monkey Learn is US based and Brand24 is UK. They're significantly more expensive and actually don't offer generative AI features that we do. They're also much more tailored towards larger businesses, like essentially just because of their pricing is absurd for a small company. And yeah, it's not something that you could justify the cost. It doesn't, the review management is not as good as ours.
Just to, oh, sorry, if you don't mind, I'll just add on to Ethan. When we were researching these, Brand24, they don't really focus on reviews. Both of these focus mainly on sentiment analysis. So we couldn't find anything that really did generative AI research like we do.
Yeah, awesome. And then, I mean, one of the reasons SMEs are underserved globally is getting that price point down for them is incredibly hard. And you start at the enterprise layer because you've got, bigger wallets and therefore the ability to invest behind the solution. In the analysis you did on the economics, how did you get confident you could service the market at that price point? Because it's incredibly hard. You need massive scale at pace because there are, to Shane's point, those variable costs and your pricing model is fixed.
Yeah, so what we found from looking at Brand24 and Monkey Learn is a lot of their cost comes from features that wouldn't necessarily be used by smaller businesses. So we've essentially slimmed down a lot of what we're doing so that it's just the what we think is essential and what actually will help these smaller to medium businesses with their review management. And that's essentially what we're relying on to get our costs down to something that would be appealing to small to medium businesses. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'll throw to Kim and Darren in a sec. I just want to say I love the proposition. I think it was really clever. I guess the point I'd leave you with is quite often these propositions are about how are we going to win customers, how are we going to attract them, and the answer is always social media, a bit of SEM through Google. The cost of customer acquisition inevitably is higher and it's incredibly hard to attract those customers. And so if you think through different channels, partnerships, people who can instantaneously give you that scale and access to the customer base, you'd give away more margin, you'd give away more revenue, but you would far quicker and easier scale. And so there's to me a really interesting distribution channel question that could get you to scale quickly, which in the SME game is kind of critical to profitability. But otherwise loved it. Thought it was a great pitch as well. So thank you. Kim, Darren, over to you.
Just kicking off, super clear presentation, really easy to follow. So well done, because it's not easy to do. So congratulations on that. I had the same push on the competitive context, like with groups like Hootsuite and platforms that do go down reasonably small in terms of what they're able to do. So I think that the competitive context at a can I call it international platform level is quite interesting, particularly if the focus of this is actually at some point to go international. So just same question, but I think that context is quite interesting. I did have a question on targeting. So, and I think this is where your sweet spot might be, which is if you had to take it down to the next level of specificity in terms of the types of businesses that you're targeting, have you got a clear view of that? And then that might then lead you on to, for example, to Caro's point, which is around distribution and how to actually jet fuel that, because that's what would kill a business like this out of the gates. If you don't get enough customers early enough, which, so two questions there. Your sub-segmentation, what does that look like? And then the second one off the back of that, any additional thoughts on distribution given that sub-segmentation?
So good, great question. So what we were looking at is targeting kind of small restaurants or probably boutique clothing stores where you don't have that scale, and to like we're relying on kind of partnerships with MYOB and stuff for distribution, and that's like part of our channel. So those are the small businesses, because as you said, there's a huge international market, so we don't really want to compete with that because we'll just get blown out of the water. So we're specifically focusing on New Zealand and Australian small businesses, I think. Yeah, and just like your boutique clothing stores, your like restaurants, or especially restaurants, because New Zealand is such a tourist based economy, we're heavily dependent on that.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't mind, I'll just add on, because we did sort of have a discussion on like what kinds of businesses would want to be, like would think of signing up first. And so we thought like it would probably be businesses with probably the higher end ratings, and so would be interested in trying this to save time, because they might already be responding to reviews, and so they want to try this to save time, because we did think ones with lower review ratings might be like a bit less open to it. So then we'd probably focus our marketing towards these people and like show them that other people have tried this and be like, oh yes, it's very, very good at increasing your reputation and saving time. I think testimonials and all that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, again, a great start to the day, good presentation. I think the scope of this feels achievable as well, and I think that it's amazing what we can see even in 12 months of what you probably would have doubted last year as to what the trends and changes in ChatGPT and others are kind of giving us this year too. I do think that pricing is probably one of the areas that it does feel like it's the an additional opportunity for you. Obviously, there's a big gap, and you're kind of marketing yourself at a smaller end of the town, a little bit cheaper, but I think that there's probably a bit of an on-ramp. I noticed that you went with a mobile app, or at least from a demo perspective. Was there a reason why you went mobile first?
Yeah, so once we fully implemented it, obviously because we're using React Native, we developed a web app to accompany it. But we originally decided to go mobile specifically because if you're a small business owner, we don't want to drag you into a space or you have to get out your laptop or something like that. We want you to be able to do this on the go, so that then you can actually effectively manage your reviews rather than setting out specific time in your day to go and do this. You can just do it like while you're having a quick break or something like that. And then just leading on from the pricing, we would also probably would be having limits on the number of calls that we'd be making. So that was how our pricing was based as well, where we based it using AWS's calculator, and we're limiting how many calls somebody would make. So that was like, so we predefined how often we would be doing it and would set limits on that. So maybe a future growth would be tiers to that as well. But again, we were very focused on making it affordable for small to medium businesses.
But with that, going through the app stores for distribution of the application, that then comes with challenges around, question marks around trialing through to, are they going to provide the subscription mechanism for you, and what's the impact on cost for you too? So what thoughts have you had in terms of the market, selling through the app marketplaces, and what constraints or opportunities does that provide you?
Yeah, so obviously there is quite a significant cut that is taken from the app stores, but what's really good is like these are like the best distribution channels, obviously, for creating for spreading it between mobile device, like on your mobile device. And again, coming back to the point, we really wanted to focus on making sure that business owners have access to this tool while they're still working, while they're not forced to go and use it somewhere else and like interrupt their day, because so if we put that in, then that's a barrier to using our app, and we think that's and though economically it might cost us more, I think overall we're going to end up getting more clientele because of that.
Cool, thank you so much, Team BHK. That's the end of Q&A, and we'll put the judges in a breakout room now.
Bear with me, team. I'm just organising the judges through.
Cool, thanks so much, Charlotte.
Or are they already gone? I think they're already gone.
Yep, already gone. Eager to discuss.
While they're in the breakout room discussing the last presentation, could Team Geminis please get ready?
Sure. Can we share a screen now or?
Yeah. Okay, and we'll wait for the judges to come back for you guys to start.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, Grace. Hi, everyone. We are Team Geminis. And today, as we delve into MYOB's customer workflow, we'll be pitching how our generative AI platform for social media content creation called Calabrio can assist small to medium businesses in achieving quality marketing efforts. Who is the team behind this? Well, I'm Arvina, and I have a background in psychology, and I'm working with Aaron, who has a background in finance, marketing, and Japanese, and we're both currently studying Masters of Entrepreneurship at the University of Melbourne. So what is it that we're pitching today? Well, first, let me paint a picture. Say you're a digital content manager for a small business. It's a 4:30 on a Wednesday, and you're already done with this week. You look ahead to Friday to make sure you're not bogged down too much. But much to your disappointment, you see your calendar is packed from morning till evening with revisions of content, meeting with creators to discuss edits, and A to B test planning. Unfortunately, this annoying reality is a menace to many, with more than half of all digital content creators having to spend between 10 to 40 hours per week making, editing, and negotiating content and its creation. We wanted to dig a little deeper too and find out why the problem exists. And after a bit of talking with real businesses, we found out why. SMEs constantly need new content for their socials, emails, and websites, hence why they're spending so much time every week making it. Moreover, the hunt for quality, on-brand, authentic contents to stand out from competition forces them to even deeper engagement with this task. And even when they find a good creator who can supply consistent content, SMEs feel they can't experiment as much as they want to, as they might run the risk of losing the tonality or aesthetic of the content. And so these were the hard facts we faced. SMEs want quality and authenticity. And so they're forced to spend so much time on content and they want to experiment, but will feel the risk too much in doing so. And so that's why we're pitching Calabrio, a generative AI platform for businesses that provides a safe space for content managers or creators to experiment with content creation, particularly with UGC content that effectively reflects the authenticity of the business. The platform will feature a comprehensive set of textual prompts related to the post tonality, when the post will be used, who and where the post is targeted towards, in order to generate the most on-brand social media posts possible to maximize revenue potential for SMEs. Then, rather than the common approach with generative AI like Midjourney, where text is used to generate an image, Calabrio allows users to upload an image and suggest changes, so as to encourage users to instead take content that already most accurately reflect the business image, and then take minor modification so that the final output is a full social media post that is more likely to be what the creator wants, rather than an entirely new generated image that requires multiple revisions until satisfactions. So here's the conceptual design that we have. Due to the time constraint, we were able to create a bubble app that is integrated with OpenAI. And for example, we have a product name of a sustain notebook with the product description and the tone. And we can see that there are several captions that are provided, and we can save copy. And moving on to Aaron for our design prototype.
Yeah, so in the long term, after we sort of build away from that original prototype there that would provide the basic functionality in the short term, we would create this long-term platform that would provide a much more holistic experience for users. So after you sign in, you'd be greeted with a much more comprehensive user dashboard where you could see recent posts that you've created, messages from creators, some basic analytics, and then where the magic happens, which is you're creating space, which is the short-term prototype before, but in a more elaborated version. So firstly, you would describe your product in detail, describe your target market, who they are, their psychographics, etc. And then from there, in addition to being able to just generate an image based on text, what we are hoping to do is through uploading a reference image from creators themselves in the creator content library, you can actually take an image, such as Michelle's at the top, plug it in, and then actually describe slight variations so that something that is already most likely what you really want for your business can actually be iterated even more. So then you're not completely working from scratch. You just have slight iterations to something that you already want. So then you create your post, you would get multiple outputs that then you could either regenerate or go back to your content library and say, look at a specific creator and see what content they've been providing for you in the creator hub, and as well as your messages that you've had with them. And further from that, we would also want to build out hopefully an analytics page for facts on A/B testing and post engagement with specific posts you've used, as well as a profile and account page that would be standard for tracking your preferences and your storage. And then in regard to the tech stack supporting this solution, for the front end, we would be using React, and for the back end, we'd be using Node.js, which would also be complemented by Amazon DynamoDB for the database and Amazon Cognito for security and authentication. And then our target market with the solution, we would hope to also be small to medium businesses in Australia who really lack the time, money, and employees to invest wildly into content creation. Rather, these SMEs really need to get it right the first time, and they need quality content that helps them stand out from the competition. So to work out the value of each market, we simply took the size of each and then multiplied it by the value of one customer within it. So for the TAM, we know that there are roughly around 2.5 million SMEs, each with a value to us of around $46 per month in the short term, giving a total market of 115.6 million. But as we boil this down further to those that actually regularly use content marketing, and then those that are within our immediate geographic reach, this boils down to around 550,000 businesses for a total market of 25.4 million. And while these figures offer a simplistic overview to the size of the market Calabrio operates in, also feel free to inquire as to the calculation of other financial components in the Q&A. And as further reasoning for entering this market segment, Calabrio's value offering relative to competitors who operate in this industry, we feel is significantly differentiated, meaning business owners will hopefully be more receptive on it, in that experimentation on content design on other P2P platforms is timely and more expensive. And other influencer platforms like Upfluence usually use upfront lock-in contracts to retain their user base. And AI content creation tools are generally more generic, simpler prompt inputs. So summarized in a competitive positioning chart, we could see that Calabrio really offers the optimal mix of quality and authenticity with ease of experimentation relative to competitors. However, what we really hope will sustainably entrench us in our market position and what could be maybe our secret sauce per se, as the way in which our AI algorithm and platform will operate in a community basis with creators. So really by structuring it to respond best to user-generated content, we're hoping to encourage businesses to use it not only as a means of creating content, but also to innovate on existing content created by people working with their brand. So that way they can be inspired to use different styles of content, encouraging more interactions between creators and founders and facilitating better relationships where the focus is more on quality and community rather than completely looking at efficiency through outsourcing with AI. And as for pricing, we wanted to use value-based pricing given our market research insights. So with small businesses spending anywhere from $2,000 to $12,000 on content each month and often not getting the most bang for their buck, we wanted to create a dual payment system where businesses can extract the value they need from it. So for small businesses needing only a few pieces of content each month, payment for up to 10 individual images or videos is offered, or unlimited content download and AI access for a $100 monthly subscription. And then in terms of what that means for revenue generation, we calculated that this pricing scheme would generate a long-term customer lifetime value of $82.50 roughly, with further assumptions of exponential user base growth, founders not taking a wage in 2023, and we would hope that would lead to around $150,000 in profit by the end of next year. And obviously one big cost influencing this is marketing. So as we gain our customers, in order to gain customers amongst a very saturated market. So how we hope to go about it is through first developing a loyal user base by experimenting with businesses in our immediate vicinity, such as through the interview process, building them as brand advocates, because as they say, it's better to have 100 customers that love you than 1 million that only like you. And then from there, we would scale through SEO and outbound marketing, and then further extract brand ambassadors who could act as social proof for us. And then finally, in terms of a growth timeline over the course of the rest of 2023, we'd hope to develop an MVP, market test it and launch a beta version, and in broader horizons, achieve platform growth by building out features in A/B testing on the next slide, entering new international markets, and creating a dedicated content creator platform, as we see in the long-term prototype. So what are we asking for? Well, for mostly we need industry connections to help us build a staffing team, an advisory board and so on, and a group of experienced mentors in the AI space who can coach us along this development journey, and $120,000 to cover the initial development costs for this year. And here are some of the references we used. And thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and feel free to ask any questions.
Evina, Aaron, thank you so much. That was awesome. A couple of questions from me. Just so I understand the concept, is the content, is it a two-sided marketplace? Like, do you need both the businesses utilizing and using the content as well as the content creators contributing the fundamental content to the platform? Is that the way to think about it? Like, is both the demand side and the supply side?
Yeah, so what we learned from talking to businesses was that a lot of these small founders have around 5 to 10 creators working with them already that they really want to keep on board, and that they just regularly get content from via simple methods such as Dropbox or uploading pictures to Instagram. And then I think to start out with, it would be that these founders could take the images and videos and just any content that they get from these regular creators they use, and they would upload it to the system, I guess, and allowing categorization from their end. And there would be a creator chat hub, hopefully, that we build into the future where creators could actually come in and do that more naturally, so that, yeah, there does end up being, I guess, a second side to the marketplace eventually. Not so much for those creators to have to pay or have any sort of financial obligation to the platform, but rather just to have a more seamless experience where it's less about using third-party platforms to manage the content creation and upload process.
Got it. So if I'm a small to medium-sized enterprise, I want some content created, I've got my people I normally use, I work with them, I buy the IP to those images from my normal content creator, and then utilize this tool effectively to iterate and improve on that content and have the ability to massage it, for the want of a better term. Okay, got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then you could also go back as well and say, well, actually, I didn't realize, but I actually like this slight iteration I've made. You could go back to your creator and say, can you do something along these lines? And that's sort of where we hope to encourage, I guess, a bit more, creator founder interaction on that regard for what the AI could maybe help to inspirate both sides on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Makes sense. I get it.
Cool.
Just that, so I understand the size of businesses and the types, the profile of businesses that you'd be targeting for this. If you're actually getting content, if you've got, let's just say 4 or 5 content creators, you'd need to, is my assumption is that you're at a reasonable size in order to be doing that? Like what's the target? Can you provide more characterization of your target market for this?
Oh yeah, no problem. So I guess our ideal business is they have around maybe 1 to 20 employees. So really, that low end of the micro range to maybe the beginning of what you would classify as a medium business, generating revenue between say about 500,000 to 20 million. So definitely nowhere in the larger range where these content creators are maybe more on a permanent employee basis. And these sort of businesses would already have a strong social media presence. So a couple that we talked to, they expressed interest in the idea. They expressed sort of eagerness to work with creators, but they still hadn't established themselves on many platforms. So these businesses would be prevalent across, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok already, with multiple accounts and maybe even a scheduling management tool on another app that actually regulates how often they're using their posts. And then further to that, in like psychographics, they would really understand the value of an intimate connection with their creators, realizing that leads to better quality content, I think.
And did I understand the proposition correctly in that it's not just the generation of the copy itself and the curating of that copy based upon obviously responses, but also the imagery? So this is, if using Midjourney and that sort of thing, it's which is a bloody horrible program to use, having played it myself. But it's both,
definitely. Images. Sorry, we tried our best within the week. Avina is the tech guru, and she tried to get image creation into the bubble prototype, but linking with OpenAI was quite difficult. So I just mocked it up simply in the Figma to show what we would really want, and the image iteration and generation would be a part of the platform.
And I think what you lay out there, and I think on the next slide as well, it's a fairly competitive space, and definitely different tools providing different propositions. But one of the challenges I see going forward with things like the democratization of machine learning that ChatGPT and similar technologies are providing means that I think it is easy to kind of come through fast and extend a platform that exists there. What do you think, given that it's possible to replicate what you're doing quickly, what do you think your competitive moat will be? Where do you start to drive your customers to retain them into the future?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point, and something we often learn about in our course is that when you're starting out, you can't really compete on technology with these market incumbents. It's customer experience and how you're dealing with your early stage customers. And so I think our big secret sauce, as I would say, would be that we're sort of putting a back burner on the idea of generative AI as being a complete focus on efficiency and time management, and cutting out the middleman so that you have maximum cost savings, but at the end of the day you're cutting off your creators and sort of ruining that quality and authenticity. So where Typeface and Jasper are probably our biggest competitors, and they have a large say in the game in terms of AI. They're definitely focused much more on sort of efficiency and instantly plugging in product, instantly getting an image and copy. But from there, if you really want copy that resonates with your user base, you're going to have to do further editing. And so these businesses wouldn't want to get rid of their creators per se. They just want a way in which a platform could assist them in getting the most out of them. So to begin with, our competitive moat would be the way in which a platform allows founders to really get a more seamless experience in terms of the quality output creators are providing to them, and then iterating on that, and hopefully seeing results in terms of post engagement, profits, and sales through posts that customers engage with. Yeah.
There you go. I'll throw to Shane to wrap us up on the questions.
Just come off mute. Great presentation. Let me just bring up my notes here. I think pretty much all the questions have broadly been asked, but one of the biggest challenges, I guess, with generative AI, is ensuring, I guess, IP sovereignty or IP theft. Have you thought about what controls you can put in place to ensure that images created, be it uploaded, etc., don't infringe on IP theft?
Did you want to go, Avina, with the tech background, or I can just briefly sort of say about like Amazon Dynamo? You'd probably be better suited to.
Right, but in terms of the IP image, we would most likely will require some sort of like authentication where we will check and review the content that is being produced. So we're making sure that there is no theft for the images. And we will still need to be doing some more researches regarding that, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Definitely worth taking a look. But yes, you could do that post-processing, or even at the start. Excellent. Well done, team.
You.
If the judges want to go back into the breakout room, not too sure if you can do it yourself or.
Right. See you in a minute.
We can. Thank
Cool.
you. Well done,
Excellent.
Team Gemini.
Yes,
Good
thank
job.
Yeah, I really liked your presentation. So next up, we have the PDJC, and just letting you know that presenting next is the, after that is the motorized mammoths. Good luck, team.
Hi everyone, we are Team PDJC. Today we are going to present you our AI shop assistant, and it's called Betty. Next. So we would like to focus on a customer service workflow, and we have come up with problem and solution for large size brick and mortar stores. The total addressable market is 5,600 large retail businesses. Next. So it's cold in Melbourne right now. Imagine you want to buy a heater in Kmart. So you have arrived at the store, but as you have never purchased a heater in Kmart before, you don't know where the heaters are. You want to look for a staff to guide you to the heaters. Unfortunately, you cannot find a staff to help you. You eventually manage to find the way to the heaters, and you see that there are different models of the heaters. You have a lot of questions in your mind. Which heater is most suitable for me? What are the differences between them? So with a lot of unanswered questions, you want to find help. Unfortunately, you cannot find a staff to provide you suggestions. So with unanswered questions and without help, you decide to delay your purchase. And we believe that it's a common problem for customers who, when they cannot get help immediately, they may delay the purchase. When we look at the retail industry, staffing is a challenge as well. For example, in the previous year, there are close to 50K unfilled positions. Also, there's staffing fluctuation, and it's hard to take care of every customer. Next. When we look at the external business environment, such as the economy and the society, there's rise in labor costs, there's increasing inflation rate, and also customers prefer to shop in-store than online. Next. So the problem statement is, how can we solve customer inquiries with reduced labor costs while increasing sales? Next. The answer is generative AI. We believe that when we use generative AI, we are not only providing a static answer to customer, but that it has the ability to generate new content and new insights to facilitate customer buying decisions. Next. For our solution strategies, we will first use generative AI as a retail staff to provide answer to customer inquiries. We will also use generative AI as a friend to provide personalized solutions and conversational recommendation to the customer. Next, we are going to discuss our solution details.
We are going to provide a web-based AI assistant for our customer in offline scenario, and we are going to link it with the membership system. In the first phase, there are three main features. The first one is chatbot, which can answer like a human being, but we different from other chatbot. We not only provide a basic product information, but also the external information. For example, the current fashion trend here. And our chatbot can also be able to compare the different products for the customer. The next feature is try it out. If the customer want to try the clothes in the store, they can just enter the product code here and then take the picture of themselves. We're using generative AI here to create a 3D picture of the customer with their clothes. But our uniqueness of this feature is that the customer be able to adjust the final look to make it more suitable for their preferences. For example, change the color here. The last feature is plan for shop. Imagine if the customer go inside the store and just tell our platform that I want to shopping for camping, or if the customer already have the shopping list, just list it here and click let's begin. We use generative AI to make the whole plan for the customer, not only looking at the particular activity, but we use our system to looking for customer or activity that they do in the store and connect it all together. For example, show the route, how customer can reach their product item 1 or product 2, and connect it with the parking info and also provide the promotion that near customer. And the next one, we are going to looking at the portal for the business side. And here we use the two-factor authentication. The first page is about basic data. For example, how many customers use our platform today. The next one is the customer insight. We train our system to collect the data. For example, who put the cereal into the shopping list, who compared to different cereals, and we also combine it with another information. For example, a single box of cereal can be last for 3 weeks. We use generative AI technology here to predict who is more likely to buy a cereal for next week. The company be able to send the voucher to them directly on our platform. And the last one, the company can connect their warehouse system with our stock management through API or upload as a batch file or add it directly on our platform. The next one is our product roadmap. The first phase, like mentioned earlier, 3 main features. The second phase, we add e-commerce system. And the third phase, we try to be the platform that the customer can finish all their activities in only one platform.
For the 3 main features just mentioned, they create the value for both end customer and businesses. The chatbot helps customers to make purchase decisions by giving information while enhancing faster selling process for the businesses. The tried out features enable customers get responses that better suit their needs. At the same time, business can take this chance for upselling by suggesting the other items that are usually bought together as well. And last feature, the plan for shop feature that allow customers to list the list of items they have to buy as they plan and access to extra beneficial information like parking offer. Meanwhile, the businesses can gain customer insight to design a personalized marketing strategy in the future as well. Next, we are going to present you the benefit for retail stores.
Our solution has 3 main benefits for a retail store. First, it improves the business operation. By compiling a list of frequently asked customer questions, generative AI will showcase the gap in product communication and how to improve it. Second, by comparing the shopping list data obtained and what the customer actually purchases, generative AI can identify insights on what drives their purchase. This can be used in data analytics in predicting customer behavior. Third, generative AI will improve customer experience, for example, having a timely reply and personalized recommendation. Additionally, it will have extensive features that have been mentioned in the prototype. Next.
So for our technical architecture, we'll use Microsoft OpenAI service for the AI, and we will also host the solution on Microsoft Azure Cloud. We will also connect the retail business data to Microsoft SQL database and Azure Cache for Reddit. And we will also use LangChain to store and retrieve data when the AI service is interacting with the customer. Next.
For our pricing, since we compare ourselves as a salesperson, which cost the business range from $3,500 to $4,000 per month, our subscription price charge only $1,485 per month per store to be our source of revenue. This allows the business to save up to 63% of the labor cost. This plan supports 19,000 questions and responses combined together per month. However, the subscription price may be re-evaluated once there are new features added to the plan, or the user insight suggesting to adjust the AI capability or the external factors such as minimum wage and inflation. Next. As for our estimation for the financial growth in the future, we aim to capture a 5% market share in live physical retail store in the first year after launch, which will generate approximately 250 stores across Australia to be our clients. We also target 10% month-on-month growth for new stores. Next. For the cost side, we believe that the expenses include services in the Microsoft Azure, the salary for our team, and the marketing costs. So with 30% margin from the variable cost, we expect to gain a profit in Q4 2026 while reaching the break-even in Q1 2028. Next.
There are several solutions that already exist in the market that function quite similarly to our intended solution: customer service management software, chatbot, and membership applications. However, our solution aims to fulfill these function attributes with an additional benefit, focusing on personalization. This is our unique selling proposition. We will gain this by having customer interaction and giving recommendation in a conversational manner. Now I will briefly walk through the key strategies to market our product. First, we are going to attract businesses with a product-oriented marketing plan. We will emphasize our unique selling proposition to gain organic sales. Next, we will have beta tester using networks available from MYOB partnership to adjust platform functionality based on customer feedback. The incentive for beta tester is a discount on our product. Lastly, our B2B marketing campaign will rely on having an active sales team and advertising on LinkedIn and Facebook, which are the social media used by our target audience. To conclude, we will end our presentation with a value proposition model. We are confident that Buddy will solve these key problems and have this lasting impact on customer service workflow. Thank you for listening in our presentation, and we will open the questions floor.
I seem to have started the trend of asking the first one, so I'm just going to embrace it and continue. I'm a little, probably just need to clarify. So in your marketing, are you trying to get the consumer to download the PDJC app, or are you going to the Kmart or retailer and suggesting they promote it? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, is it kind of consumer-led demand for the app that solves their problem as your initial pull, or do you need the businesses on board for the floor layout such that the data's in there to enable the positive consumer experience? Just talk me through which side of this is the area of work.
Yeah, actually, we try to discuss about this question as well. And because this is a 2C product and we want our products to access as much as possible to make it easier for the customer to access it. So we think that it might be easier for the customer to just, when they step in the store, see the QR code, the customer bring up their phone to scan the QR code and access our platform. It's more convenient that way.
Yeah. So therefore you have to get the businesses on board, right? The Kmarts
yes,
or equivalent.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think the go-to-market plan or the marketing plan is probably less about the social element and social media and a consumer marketing plan. Actually, it's I think you identified 5,000 businesses or 250 initial target customers. I think the go-to-market plans then have to be about getting some of those stores on board as the primary way you'll get the consumer. Is that the right way to think about it?
Yeah, so there will be two concepts. The first concept is that there are 5,600 large retail businesses. Yep. So when we try to look for large retail businesses, we try to find business that have more than 50 employees, like in retail business. But to be honest, it's a little bit impossible to find like the total number of stores of these 5,600 businesses. So what we did is that, can we go to the next, for the slide, can we go to the next? And then the next one? One more, next.
Sorry.
Yep, this one. So we try to identify several market leaders in the retail industry, and we try to find the number of stores from these stores. So approximately there will be about like 5,000 physical stores for this large retail business group. And our estimation is that we may kind of want to focus about like, we expect like maybe like about 5% of these stores will kind of want to participate in this AI chatbot. So when we use 5,000 to times 5%, there will be 250 stores.
Got it. Okay, awesome. And one final question. It's probably a really minor point, but do you know that they made the purchase? How do you know they made the purchase? And context here is being, work for TradeMe, online retail businesses. Like you can shop and browse, but often you don't know if someone's bought a car. You don't know if someone's bought a house on REA or TradeMe, like because you don't actually have the point of purchase to close out the data set. So how do you know that they've made the purchase, notwithstanding that they've scrolled through the items?
So I think in our solution, we kind of try to connect with the existing membership or loyalty program.
Got it.
Let's say, yeah.
Okay, so because you're connected with the
yeah.
retail, they'll get points in the point system. So therefore you'll be able to get the data that they've made the purchase. Okay, awesome. Makes sense. Thank you. No further questions from me.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks, PDJC. So broadly speaking, these large language models are trained up to a point in time. So let's say a new craze appears, the modern day Udi or whatever's going to be next, that the large language model, in this case, Azure OpenAI, doesn't know about. How do you address that? So in effect, it doesn't know what to recommend. And secondly, how do you prevent if I walk into Kmart, in your example, and I ask a question that the response doesn't come back with something from a competitor?
Maybe let me try to answer the second question first. So I guess when we kind of train the model, although we will look for external data, but I think we kind of have to add a bit of governance to make sure the model is not going to recommend products from our competitors, and it's only kind of make sure the recommendation it's within the products of Kmart, but it may kind of provide some external information, for example, like fashion trend, or like what, or maybe like some social issues that we kind of make the customer want to purchase some kind of products. But we'll definitely make sure not to recommend products from our competitors.
Yeah, can I, so sorry. I just want to add up something. Yes, I think this is an excellent point. And I think that if we look at the business side, it can be the sales point as well. For example, for the company that they want to push their products, they can buy this allocation as well to push to like suggestion their products. This can be our advertisement as well to earn more money.
All right.
And can we get back to the first question? I think I've missed the first question. Sorry.
Look, the first question was around just in general, be it GPT or Llama, they're all trained to a point in time. So these models are incredibly computationally expensive to train. They know about stuff up to a certain point in time. If a new craze comes out, how do you address the fact that potentially these models, until they're updated, may not know, in effect, what you're talking about? So I use the example of, like, I just look at my house, like, there's Udis everywhere with my kids at the moment. Udis weren't a thing a couple of years ago. What happens when the new things come out and these LLMs, these large language models, they just don't know about them? How do you address, these new crazes? And I guess the lag time between the update and products being released to market.
Yep. I'm not sure if my thinking is correct, but I think I can try to put it this way, because I think one of our AI like the function of one of our AI is that it can kind of do web search. So I guess if, let's say, the customer is asking something that it's very new or it's just come out lately, I think we can kind of like train the AI to do the web search on something that it doesn't know yet. So it can kind of provide the latest information to the customer.
Okay.
Yep. And allow me to add a little bit things. And because in the third phase, we are going to integrate with the third-party system. So we are hoping that we are integrate with another party that can provide that information to us to make it more up to date.
Okay. Judges, do we have any more questions?
I'll ask a quick one. You talk about integration. I think there's definitely a view when you talk about QR codes and scanning. There seems to be a fair bit in terms of just priming the system to be able to operate this. How long do you anticipate it be time to get to market for phase one, and then how long would it take to onboard a new customer, a new retailer into that?
I think, do we have a slide on it? Okay, I think I can use the product roadmap slide. Okay, so the first phase, we are estimated to implement around 2 to 3 months to implement the 3 main features first. And in the first phase, we try to onboard our customer maybe around the next quarter. So after we launching it, we try to onboard our customer, and we try to stick on this phase around 1 to 2 years. And then after that, we try to add more features, especially for the e-commerce side, and we try to connect it, the customer online offline activities, connect it seamlessly. And this will be year 2 and year 4. And at the end, at the goal, we want to positioning our product as the only one platform that the customer can finish all their activities. That this is our whole timeline.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Yeah,
No, I think that's good.
That's
Thank you.
good. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Really good.
All right, we're going to head off to a breakout room, I think.
Thank you.
Thanks, team. Well done.
Just before you guys go, so there is a break now as well. So if everyone can be back at 3:40 New Zealand or 1:40 Melbourne time. Thanks all.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can share your screen when you're ready.
Great, thank you. Is that all working fine?
Yep.
Verisafe, streamlining compliance and enhancing security. It is estimated that organised crime and related frauds cost the Australian economy over $60 billion annually. The staggering cost has highlighted the importance of robust regulations and the need for professionals to remain vigilant of their clients. The government's anti-money laundering and know your customer regulations has set out the process for businesses and professionals to prevent money laundering and the financing of illegal activities. Anti-money laundering ensures that money from illegal activities are not disguised as legitimate income, and businesses are required by law to monitor transactions to identify suspicious activities while keeping detailed records. Know Your Customer refers to the process of verifying the identity of your clients and assessing their business intentions, risk, and their source of funding. It also aims to prevent the misuse of illegal funding for business activities and money laundering. There are 3 key groups affected by these policies, which are large companies, SMEs, and professionals like accountants and lawyers. Large businesses like banks and financial institutions are less affected due to their size and scale. They rely easily on enterprise softwares provided by IBM, SAP, or develop their own in-house capabilities. SMEs tend to resort to expensive software solutions, which still requires a large amount of manual input and is expensive in price. And lastly, independent professionals like accountants and lawyers faces even more challenge, as they tend to operate manually on a smaller scale and require significant time and effort to comply with these regulations.
We will look at current AML and KYC process through Ben, an independent accountant working with 30 clients. First, he performs a series of risk assessments and identity checks for his clients to ensure that they're safe to work with. This check happens annually or 2 for each client and takes 15 hours each year. Next, Ben performs customer due diligence throughout the year, where he manually monitors the transactions of his clients for any unusual transactions and identifies potential risks of money laundering, taking another 105 hours a year. This entire process takes a large amount of time and introduces operational difficulties for professionals like Ben, costing him over $7,000 of foregone income each year. The rising financial crime rate and regulatory challenges have made AML and KYC more important than ever, but businesses and professionals lack the capacity to fulfill it. As a result, business bottom lines and operational efficiency significantly impaired. To address this problem, we introduced Verisafe, a software as a service solution that automates AML and KYC operations. Key features of our solution include utilizing generative AI to automate client onboarding and transaction monitoring, freeing up valuable time for our users. Key client information will also be used to generate insights to perform risk assessments and form comprehensive client profiles. This way, users can increase their operational efficiency significantly, freeing up billable resources and increasing margins by up to 10%.
To get deeper with how this works, Verisafe will automate the client onboarding and verification process by extracting and verifying information from the client identity documents. The client information is then profiled and assessed for risk through analysis of historical data, simulation, and generation of hypothetical scenarios to test those data. These scenarios are compared with risk indicators to identify potential risk and mitigation strategies. Next, Verisafe will perform constant monitoring of the client's transactions. Through identifying outliers arising from patterns in the data, Verisafe will be able to identify suspicious transactions and proactively alert our user. Lastly, Verisafe will also continuously update client dashboards with key insights and generate reports that highlight key information for the user. Another key feature of Verisafe is its ability to be directly integrated with the MYOB platform. This provides Verisafe with access to client and transaction data within MYOB business and helps create a streamlined experience that delivers operational efficiency and reduces fraud risk for MYOB users.
We'll now run through a demo for our prototype. When a user logs in, they're taken to the dashboard where they'll be able to see a summary of key information on their clients. This includes an overview of their transactions and how many of these are legitimate. We can also see that our transactions are actively integrated with MYOB. We're also shown a list of the recent notifications, which highlights top priority action items that requires the user's attention up here. The bottom left shows a list of ongoing tasks, and the bottom right highlights a list of suspicious transactions that needs to be reviewed by the user. The navigation bar at the top displays the main sections of Verisafe. We'll now look at the contacts page. The contacts page displays a list of our users' clients. Each client, it displays their name, their company, if their profile has been verified, and also the estimated risk level. We can see that these contacts are also actively integrated with MYOB. We can click into any of these contacts to view a more comprehensive profile. Check out client G. We're showing some detailed personal information alongside the risk level here, so this client is moderate. There's one warning that informs us that the client has connections to suspicious individuals and recommends enhanced screening to mitigate this risk. 2 of the client's transactions are suspicious, and we have the option to view these transactions in more detail. On the right-hand side, we can see an option to upload documents for this client alongside a list of previously uploaded documents as well. The platform's generative AI capabilities will be handled by AWS SageMaker, and we will query the MYOB Business API to retrieve context and transaction information. By using Verisafe, all the user needs to do now is to upload their client documents onto the platform and verify suspicious activities, as Verisafe now takes care of the rest.
Upon analysing the current market, Verisafe is best positioned to introduce its offerings to independent professionals for two key reasons. Firstly, these customers are price conscious and operate on thin margins, making them highly sensitive to the cost of the solution. Next, they're time constrained with numerous tasks and responsibilities, which makes efficiency their key consideration. As a result, Verisafe's business model will be subscription-based at a weekly rate of $10, with surcharge for additional clients. This has two main advantages. Firstly, it has a low upfront cost and almost no barrier for users to try the service, which could increase the number of early adopters. Secondly, it is significantly cheaper than competitors costing thousands of dollars, making it price competitive. Verisafe's initial market entry strategy has two parts. First, we will partner with CAANZ to create awareness with a large group of accountants. Accountants interact regularly with AML regulations, and Verisafe would help improve their work efficiency significantly. The next step is to list Verisafe on the MYOB marketplace. The seamless integration of Verisafe with MYOB's existing offerings makes it ideal for existing MYOB users, who tend to be tech-savvy professionals with a stronger adoption for new fintech. This will help Verisafe acquire its first batch of base customers. Moving on, Verisafe is quickly expected to gain traction amongst accountants and lawyers by building off MYOB's existing client base and gradually capturing more SMEs over time. The total subscribers is expected to reach over 70,000 users by year 5, which represents $36 million in revenue. And this is just 2% of the total addressable market, with a large potential for scale later on. Thank you for listening, and the team is now happy to answer any questions.
We'll kick off this time. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, I'll come in.
All right, I'll jump in. I was, still framing it up at the moment, but really, I was just kind of thinking about the experience. We could see there through the demo the kind of the dashboard and the user experience for the small business owner. What level of kind of integration is required to connect into the onboarding experience or the KYC experience for customers, so that each small business can white label or provide their own custom experience to their end customers?
Yeah, so ultimately the current KYC process involves our client, it might be an accountant or a lawyer, sending a bunch of ID requirements or a lot of forms for the client, for their own client to fill out. And based on those information, they have to go through a series of checks to ensure who they claim to be, and they're safe to work with. So by using Verisafe and implementing it into the MYOB platform, we're basically helping set up a process that can automate the process later on down the line. And in terms of the current process, essentially it's going to be the same for the end client, but for our client, the accountants and lawyers, it becomes easier. Once they get all the information from the customers, they just upload it onto the Verisafe platform, and we'll do all the checks from there onwards.
Yeah, just to build upon that, as we can see here, a user would be able to upload the documents directly onto a client's profile, and then Verisafe will run these processes in the background, generate these insights to display back on the dashboard, and that would either appear as a notification that's been completed, or if something goes wrong, it will be an action item. And we'll also be able to view this within the client's profile as well to see if there is anything we need to do for it. Otherwise, it would just be displayed as information on this profile.
And where would you see as one of the greatest kind of areas of most effort or greatest challenge to get this product to market?
Yeah, I think one of the initial barriers of getting this to market is adoption for new users, because transferring all the data and client information onto a new platform can be quite a tedious process, which is why initially we want to work with accountants, and especially those who's already using MYOB. And because by integrating with MYOB, we can make their job a lot easier in creating a seamless process. And setting this up might just take a few hours, but it'll save them over 100 hours each year just from doing this alone.
Do you have anything?
First of all, compliance and potential risk of loss of cash, like fear at the end of the day is a great motivator. So like, I think they're all sweet spots. So fear is always a great driver for actually doing anything. And thank you for putting together the idea in the presentation as well. I really enjoyed it. Just a question. You've got, in terms of the distribution, one of your distribution angles is through MYOB on the marketplace. You could sit there on the marketplace and nothing would happen. Because there's lots of businesses on that marketplace that are trying to use MYOB for distribution at the end of the day. Where would you think your sweet spot would be for Verisafe? And once again, I'm going back to segmentation. When you drop it below, SMEs, what would be a subsegment that you would actually chase?
Yeah, so I think to answer your question, we initially wanted to address accountants and lawyers specifically because they have an actual need, a proven need to automate and make the AML and KYC process easier. Currently, MYOB actually has a market gap where they do not provide a similar level of service. So by introducing our product Verisafe onto the MYOB platform, we're trying to create something that complements each other and makes the use of MYOB platform a lot easier and even more efficient for MYOB's existing clients. And it will also benefit Verisafe by introducing the first base customer.
And if I can give you just a bit of an angle, like if you think of areas, like I'm thinking of the end user here that an accountant could talk to. So one of the accountants have clients, their own businesses. If you think of the clients that would be really interested in making sure that their accountant had this product, would be anybody, for example, with construction, where 56% of their projects in construction end up with either late pay or no pay. So they've got a huge supply chain risk engine sitting there, and it's why a lot of construction businesses go out of business. So I think just honing in the why for either accountants and even the why for MYOB, taking it down to that next layer, you will find sweet spots for this. You will definitely find sweet spots for this.
Thank you very much for your feedback.
Thank you.
CTF compliance. So how did you come up with the idea? It's a relatively niche space that's probably not apparent at first glance when you came across the brief.
Yeah.
So it's currently a rising trend in a lot of financial crime, especially across the New Zealand and Australian marketplace. So even more commonly in the news, similar articles have been popping up with lots of companies not being able to comply with regulations. And from this, we identified that there really was a need for this in the market, and hence formed this solution.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Because it's really topical. It is an incredibly important area. And to Kim's point, kind of fear-based marketing is pretty powerful. If you go back to your market competitor slides, there was, talk to me. So you have first AML Hub and IBM SAP. This, I guess, we have an offering not dissimilar to this. We integrate with a company called Frankie One. There's also a company, Comply Advantage, that do this offering. Like, it's a really important spot, and it's actually, I think, relatively competitive. So I think the question for me is what will be differentiating yourself from some of those other competitors in market. I think that's
a great question. Thank you so much for that. So with Verisafe, our unique advantage is our ability to complement MYOB's current offerings and then creating an all-in-one platform that helps the SMEs and independent professionals to make their life easier. I think with the current competitors in the market, IBM and SAP tend to serve the larger enterprises with a lot of money on hand and have the capability to actually purchase those expensive software. And with First AML and AML Hub, they're a little bit more complicated to use, and they still require quite a large amount of manual input because it's not currently integrated with an accounting platform. So our idea with Verisafe is to ensure that it complements the services and the offerings of MYOB and creating a platform that is mutually beneficial for both MYOB and for ourselves.
Right. Understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Team, I'm just going to ask, what signals are you using to calculate risk? You spoke about SageMaker, I believe, in your slide before. Is this product designed to be like an inline process, real time, or is it more of a, reporting aspect? So I guess two questions here. What signals are you using to calculate risk, and do they need to be tweaked and updated over time? And secondly, is this a post process, or is it designed to be for transactions as they occur to get a risk score?
Yep, so touching on that, there's two parts. So initially when the client performs their KYC checks, the user performs their KYC checks on the client, they will be uploading the documents. When those documents are uploaded, we will be running that through SageMaker, which currently has some inbuilt capabilities to process these data and extract out key information. And from that point onwards, with the integration with through MYOB Business API to access the transactions, as soon as the client makes any of these transactions, it will automate a process within Verisafe, which will then run one of these checks on each transaction to ensure that the transaction is legitimate, not suspicious, and report back in real time as well.
Brilliant. And on your pricing, did we see that or did I miss that?
Oh, yeah, we had a pricing slide for business model. If you can go.
You did, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Any further questions, judges?
I think we're good. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done, team.
So yeah, now Paul Robson consultants are presenting, and after that, Team Melbourne. So you can start when you're ready.
Good. We all know that feeling when you start a new job, the manager has showed you how to make all the recipes, but you still can't quite remember every single detail of the instructions. We are Team Paul Robson, and we introduce you TalTech, a new generative AI employee training program. TalTech was inspired by a local cafe called Titui, which employs people with intellectual disabilities. Dr. Phillips, a psychology lecturer at UOA who's in charge of designing the training program for the employees at the cafe, has stated that currently the avenues available for individuals with diverse learning needs to learn are often out of reach. Our goal is to help SMEs provide employees with training materials suited to their learning needs. So we asked ourselves, how could we utilize generative AI to enhance employee training for SMEs like Titui Cafe, while also generating a profit for ourselves? Employee training programs are strategic plans designed to educate and enhance employee skill sets. Currently, 70% of businesses outsource this.
Through market analysis, we concluded the industry is saturated with employee training programs, but no competitive program which utilizes generative AI exists. This is our gap in the market. Our team resonates with food retailers due to our past experiences and have identified issues related to employee training common in this industry. TalTech will initially target at SME food retail chains similar to Titui Cafe and look to expand to other industries in the future. This initial target market has the potential to rapidly expand through these processes outlined. Continual iteration and research for other industries will be important to ensure we choose the correct target markets. We've identified 4 key issues for employees at businesses like Titui face. With 78% of employees in ANZ not engaged due to issues such as no skill or career progression. For businesses to stay relevant and attract and retain employees, they must value employee growth. Secondly, digitization is crucial to the success of any business. It is important operations adjust to the foundations of digital accessibility through personalized content, which embraces employee diversity. The issues of changing regulations and inconsistent training delivery are addressed in our solution. The training software market presents opportunities for a potential tech solution. Firstly, there is market demand present for a more efficient method of producing training content. A second opportunity is that there is no competition for a generative AI training software in the market. As a result, a generative AI training software would gain first mover advantage in the market, which is invaluable considering the high switching costs for businesses associated with changing from such a complex software.
Introducing Taltic, aim to redefine employee training with the power of generative AI. Firstly, what is generative AI? Generative AI models can learn patterns and structure of input training data and can then generate new output data that has similar characteristics. Taltic uses generative AI to create personalized training material for employees. We will train the model on existing images or text, such as existing safety guidelines. The output will be different types of videos, interactive quizzes, and games, tailor-made to each employee's preferences. Taltic will also be informed of changing regulations and thus provides a standardized platform for employees of different branches of the same company, offering SMEs a personalized, low-cost solution to employee training. Our cutting-edge generative AI training solution has 3 key value propositions. Firstly, real-time content that reflects the most important aspect of training and meets the current training regulations, which is consistent across locations, can be produced. This content can be produced in multiple formats, allowing greater accessibility to employees who have specific learning needs. Finally, generative AI will save time for businesses as the majority of the content will be produced and updated automatically. We are passionate about this idea as it can be potentially implemented in many industries and thus generate huge macroeconomic benefits through efficiency improvements. Let's take a look at a fictional example of how an ANZ business and the food retail industry can benefit from the software's unique value propositions. Mana's Milkshakes is an SME that operates in multiple locations across Aotearoa. Like many SMEs, they plan to increase locations and staff in the future, so they will need to offer a robust training program that's consistent across locations for these future and current employees. As a result of the current training content, Mike has been receiving complaints from his workers about the one-size-fits-all training approach, but doesn't have the cash on hand or the time to improve the content, while Olivia has an auditory processing disorder, so has trouble learning the POS system aspects from her colleagues. However, under the proposed software, Mike can now get access to an automated training program that both meets the needs of his employees and saves time at a low cost. For Olivia, she can now consume content in the form that works best for her whenever she likes. Like any business, the people are the heart of Mana's Milkshakes, so the improved outcomes for these individuals will enhance the business's performance through better employee retention, productivity, and overall morale.
We plan on advertising through social media and through MYOB to offer your customers a chance to be among the first to trial our software. We will also market our software at events by doing live demonstrations. The demo period will provide ongoing customer support to better understand customer concerns. We will highlight our unique value propositions throughout the phase of entering the market. Here is a demo of Taltic, which we employed the use of generative AI using Hugging Face.
Customer service, so he asks Taltic to generate a model on this. The MMP will automatically use this generated text to create content of various media, as shown when it automatically translates into Chinese. For this demo, manual input of the generated text is required. If one of Mike's employees were to prefer reading content in their preferred language, such as Spanish, the translated version will be generated and sent to them. If another one of his employees were to process information better when hearing an audio version, due to reading disabilities, an audio version can be created.
Good customer service is a company's.
Many of Mike's employees have said they respond best to interactive activities such as quizzes. With input content such as PDF files or text, quiz questions and answers can be generated. This demo requires input, but the MMP will already have this information through the training set provided by the company. Some of Mike's employees have also indicated they are visual learners who require pictures to support their learning. Keywords from initial text generation are used to generate images to go alongside the modules. Once all modules of various media generated, Taltic will automatically assign each respective model to the employee, of which will appear on the employee's login.
Here we have the home screen of the Taltic website. Here is the employee login tab.
When Olivia signs into the TalTech platform, she will see different tasks that her manager assigns to her. They can be videos, games, or quizzes. She can even discuss with her manager which media type she prefers, so her manager can assign tasks to suit her learning needs. Here is the assignment screen where she will complete her assigned tasks and modules. Here is a demo of Olivia completing a quiz question, which could have been generated via TalTech by the manager.
Here's a summary of our first submissions architecture that TalTech will make use of. We mostly be using AWS, and specifically SageMaker will be in charge of the generative AI component. Software development will take 18 months in total, with beta testing occurring at the 9-month mark and post-deployment testing at the 18-month mark. There will be 2 rounds of marketing for beta testers and for the finished product. Post-release, we will have a customer support team to assist our customers with TalTech. The main risks and mitigations are market adoption rate, technological errors, and a lack of paying subscribers. We can address this in more detail in Q&A. Our main source of revenue is through selling licensing plans. We are charging a monthly subscription fee to increase affordability, as SMEs have less upfront capital, to increase flexibility and decrease risk, as there is no large investment, and SMEs can cancel their subscription at any time. Additionally, a 3-month free trial will provide the most basic functions of our software and gain emails for marketing and demonstrate our products to potential customers.
To make TalTech accessible to all SMEs, we have chosen 3 different price points, each with different benefits. This gives more options for our customers to choose from. Our forecasts show that we will gain a steady increase in revenue over the next 5 years. For the breakdown, the majority of our startup costs will go towards development, as we need to hire high-quality staff to produce the software. Our return on investment is 24.3%. For savings, the average price of our competitors is around $379, compared to our premium plan, which is priced at $125. Companies will save an average of $254 per month with TalTech. With the SME market being large, we are assuming that we will attain 364 monthly active users with a minimal churn rate. With that, we are expecting to break even and achieve a net profit of $340,000 in 2027. In summary, our solution TalTech is a generative AI solution that optimizes employee training for SMEs like T2E Cafe. The outcomes of the strategy for us will be to profit $340,000 and have 17,500 units sold by 2027. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to your questions.
Thank you. I'll jump in and say thank you. That was really interesting, and great to see another kind of use case for this. Now, I'm going to jump in on the AI side of things. My first question would be, we know that generative AI tools sometimes make stuff up. They fill in the gaps, and their job is to kind of generate information, but not necessarily accurate or precise information. In the case of training data, there's a risk that we may end up, providing information that's not factual as part of that training material. How do you plan to address those risks?
So we provided a slide which we want to use to ensure reliability and quality. And some of the main points involved is ensuring data quality and diversity. So this means, I guess, ensuring that there's also a large volume, but also really high quality data. And we'd like to prioritize having the data sets come from a very high quality compared to having more of it. And we want to ensure that all the data sets are complete and consistent and also relevant. And this includes ensuring that we monitor and continue to update with the evolving model, which was always dynamic. We also want to emphasize that TalTech is never meant to replace human intelligence. And so we're never going to automate or override, I guess, making any human decisions and ensure that there's always human intervention where possible. We also would like to consider the social and ethical implications of generative AI. I guess this is quite important at the moment, considering the current climate, and we will use the resources, and we'll also follow the regulations of AI ethics principles, AI HLEG guidelines, and the FATML principles. And lastly, like many trainings, I think it's around 80% of actually making the model is around the rigorous training and testing of the data sets. And so we will follow this and have a very rigorous training and validation process.
Thank you. Kim's asked me the question. What do you?
Yeah, first of all, can I just thank you guys for like the energy that you guys put into that presentation. It comes across the airwaves, so or the ether. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Like when I had the question of when you said we'll be training, like how's the training validated? Like for me, doing the training is not validation of the training. It's just the fact that training's been done. It's one of the biggest issues we've got when people go through any sort of enablement. So that was a follow-up question from Darren. And then I had another question, which was around what is the biggest, if you're targeting retailers, and it looked like hospitality type retailers, like what is their biggest training pain point that you're honing in on here with Taltech?
To answer the first question, so Taltech will provide a base trained model, and this training and validation will take up most of the time period that we have allocated, and this does require quite a lot of work and people power. And then additionally with this, the base trained model will be fine-tuned with data from the companies to make it more personalized, the content to the company. And this takes an initial few months through Taltech. Do you want to answer the
So as we discussed with the pain points, we identified 4 pain points, but 2 in particular. And those 2 were employee disengagement and accessibility of training. And those 2 were like our biggest pain points that we identified for retailers, because the people working in retail are typically don't have much like industry experience, and they're usually quite young and don't come in with like many qualifications. So their learning needs are quite unique and differentiated. So a lot of the time, like when retailers try to provide training programs for them, like the training programs that they provide just doesn't account for everyone. It doesn't account for people that have disabilities or don't have like certain qualifications, and it doesn't allow them to engage as much with the content. And we specifically chose retailers because they have high employee turnover. So I think they will benefit most from having like an automated training program, because they spend so much time training employees. So if they have something automated, that will really help them to speed up the process, considering how many people they're employing.
Great, thank you.
I'll jump in here. I think a real problem, Paul Robson consultants. And look, as a father of a child with atypical needs, this resonated with me on a personal level. So it's a unique differentiator for organizations. So in your demonstration, we saw examples of translating between languages and from text to speech. And in the presentation form of a quiz function, are you contemplating other aspects that drive differentiating value? As in, how potentially could you translate a set of instructions to, someone on the spectrum here, or that have other different learning difficulties? Will you be taking this above and beyond, those base examples that we saw in your demonstration?
Yes, for sure. So as you probably saw also in our demonstration, we weren't able to fully code up the video and game side of things. And I guess at the heart of Taltech is that it's so personalized and generative that it's able to learn from what the user responds to best and how, I guess, they answer the questions and provide them with more questions like that. And so in order to, I guess, cater to some more special needs and a wide range of disabilities, we definitely employ the resources of advisors and things to help us with this content.
Excellent, thank you.
And maybe quickly and finally for me, like my heart loves this. My head has a few questions. I am the CFO, so I go straight to kind of the financials, but I will say at the outset, the heart loves it. And I think what I was reflecting on, like your why started out really clear, and just like fear on AML, CTF compliance, a really passionate cause that has meaning to you is is a wonderful motivator for success. And so kudos to, having the heart piece in this. I think when I was reflecting on just the size of the market and the go-to-market and how you would kind of get this out there, when you're looking at the retail sector and hospitality sector, and then I'm thinking of the Venn diagram where the concentric circles are overlapping, how big the employment of those with special needs is in that industry. Grew up, first job was at McDonald's, and there was someone with pretty significant needs employed at the McDonald's I worked in, but he was one of hundreds of people that went through that retail outlet. And so I'd be encouraging, if you've got passion to continue to explore this, just thinking about what is the right avenue to promote it, because I'm not sure, and I love the passion that we should absolutely be having more neurodivergent and diversity in all our workforces, but looking at what are the segments of the market that have the desire, capability to employ those people with those challenges, and then almost pursuing that as the first route to market, because I think, unfortunately, there's not a great overlap for some of that, and that's some of the challenges we face. So if you could solve that, that's super interesting, and I think that would be a really interesting niche. But anyway, that was not a question, more a verbal monologue of what was going on in my brain. But great, love the pitch, love the idea. Definitely got the heart and the why in it, which is a good start.
Oh, do you think we could, can I just respond to that? Yeah, definitely people with neurodivergent learning needs are at the heart of our training program. However, I think it is really important to consider that, people with unique learning needs are just like people that are disabled. There's a lot of people that have unique learning needs. For instance, people that don't have qualifications, people that have language barriers. There's a lot that it's more than just, just disabled people, although that would definitely be a focus. So we think, the target market for us, if I can just pull up that slide again. Yeah, that kind of just demonstrates, it's to do with anyone that has unique learning needs and that struggles with employee and the engagement side of things. So it would be quite a large target market, we think.
Yeah, personally, when I was being trained, when the manager would just say stuff, it just didn't really get into my head. But then when it's a game, it's so much more engaging, and you just want to play it anyway. So I just think it's so much better that to have mathematics kind of game instead of just getting told what to do. So yeah.
And then I think your mock-up was a laptop, or at least it felt desktop led, whereas I think this would probably match a mobile app kind of led development, at least as the first point. Is that how you guys are thinking about it, mobile app?
Probably more of a web app, I think, at the moment, because it's more like a workplace thing.
Yep.
Typically, it's a bit easier because not everyone it's also important to consider not everyone has a mobile phone that they own and that sort of thing. And, especially people with language barriers, or people that have just moved here, or people that have just finished schooling, they might not all have access to mobile phones. So that's why we primarily targeted web apps, because nearly every business has one computer in their kind of vicinity. So that's kind of why we're targeting the website first. But definitely mobile could be along the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love the idea, team. Well done, and love the passion. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we could keep talking about it for hours, but Charlotte would tell us off, so we should not do that. I think we're done. Maybe we'll jump out to the panel.
Sounds great. Thanks,
well done, team. Congrats.
Thanks, team.
Consultant.
Yeah, thanks, team. Now Team Melbourne. Would you guys like to get ready? Great, team. You can start when you're ready.
Perfect. So, hi, I'm Hayden. We are Team Melbourne, and that consists of Han, Kevin, and myself today. And unfortunately, Annie wasn't able to make it due to being sick. But today, we'll be pitching Value Edge, the smart financial advisor. So imagine Kevin, an entrepreneur who has built a successful software startup over a decade. Recently, he's considered selling, but he's faced with hurdles. Online, he finds generic advice, not tailored to his business or market. Business brokers charge high fees and their estimates vary, raising doubts about their reliability. He's caught in a catch-22, needing expert advice, but finding it costly and unreliable. It's a common dilemma for business owners like Kevin, who risk making costly mistakes without reliable guidance. Now, imagine if there was a solution for Kevin. Broad market data offers little specificity, leaving SMEs without actionable insights. Differing advisory firms often produce wildly varying valuations, leading to uncertainty and potential financial losses. And professional advice can be prohibitively expensive, straining resources in a sector where 38% of failures are due to cash flow issues. Faced with these challenges, we asked, how can we leverage existing tools for SMEs to offer reliable, timely, and affordable financial advice? Using the workflow of finance, our solution lies in generative AI technology. By analysing historical financial data, we provide customized strategic advice for each unique business situation. Enter Value Edge. MYOB serves as our main input source. It's a business model that provides structured financial statements inclusive of valuable data points like sales, asset information, and expenses. Each of these components is crucial for developing an accurate valuation estimate. Here's where Value Edge steps in. Our software seamlessly integrates with MYOB, ingesting this vital information. The ingested data is then connected with GPT-4. It allows us to generate valuation estimates with a level of accuracy and intuitiveness that's previously been out of reach. The best part, you can control what to feed into the system and when to do it. So with Value Edge, we're not just offering a valuation tool, we're providing a user-controlled financial advisor right at your fingertips.
Our target market primarily consists of small to medium enterprises in Australia and New Zealand. This market is substantial and plays a significant role in the overall economies of both countries. However, there are three key challenges commonly faced by SMEs, include long-term uncertainty, insufficient cash flow, and limited scalability. These challenges would drive them towards seeking acquisition opportunities. Value Edge aims to address these challenges comprehensively and affordably, offering a convenient solution to SMEs. Therefore, we anticipate a strong demand from SME market for Value Edge's services. Now, I'll pass on to Kevin to run us through our application, Value Edge.
Thank you, Han. So for our application demonstration, we've been able to create a full stack web app that's not only available on desktop, but also iOS and Android. And now I'll run through a demonstration with everybody and with myself as the unicorn startup that I want to go to market with, or that I want to just see what I'm valued at. So I'll log in with my account, and right away, we're presented with a dashboard that shows us our immediate valuation. Wow, I'm a software company. I had no idea I was valued at $10 million before this, but now I know. How do I know? That breakdown from ChatGPT tells us the financial advice that gives us the financials and calculates our immediate valuation is presenting. Not only does it show us that, but it shows a breakdown of the assets as well as liabilities, what clients that we have, as well as sales that we've generated this month. Okay, but how do I see what I'll be making in the next year, or say less? I've got a financial overview for a cash flow projection from this to the next year. Okay, that's great, but how do I know what my competitors are valued at? How do I know what other SMEs that are like me are selling at? Well, we've connected an API connecting from news outlets, including the Australian Financial Review, as well as Merger Market, to show us our latest news within the mergers and acquisitions market. And combining all of that, we're able to also generate charts that show us, okay, our gross cash flow within the month of July 2023, and that's consisted of money from mobile apps as well as websites. And other small functionality, but it's important to show projects that we've also done this month, as well as orders and overviews, as well as active users that are currently our sources of income. Okay, but what if I don't want to see like most of this? What do? All right, I can just turn it off in the settings. I don't want to see when a new company is listed. I do want to see a new merger, so I'll turn that on. Not only this, I can also see when my financial reports are ready to be downloaded for the end of the year, as well as talking to other people within the MYOB and valuation ecosystem. And at the bottom, we can also see our projects. Now for the billing, we're pricing our products at $40 a month, very affordable, very cheap for small businesses. And that will also include our invoices that will be fed into the system, and we can see everything each day and yesterday. Now, for our most exciting feature, I'd like to demonstrate our chatbot. How did we come to this valuation of $10 million? Well, here we have a chatbot that connects to the ChatGPT API, and I will do an income-based valuation. So through an income-based valuation, we can go through a traditional discounted cash flow model analysis that I wasn't able to do beforehand. Connecting to advisors, investment banks is too costly, but now I've got something that does that for me. So right away, I fit the information into the model, and it provides us back with what I need. So I'll go into discount cash flow analysis, and that will also allow us to use predefined company information that is stored on the MYOB database and create a template that is able to feed our financial information into the chatbot if it will just let me load. So I'll provide it with the details, and this is all the details that I've sourced from our backend, putting it into the ChatGPT model, and it creates it in a way that is not only readable for us, but readable for the chatbot, and that will ultimately give us valuation and allow us to assume information like discount rates to make our business more attractive or more realistic if we want to value it, and hopefully that will show. But yes, so that pretty much connects with our database DynamoDB, which we chose over a relational model because of its low latency as well as availability when it's high traffic demand. So right here, it will give us valuation, and okay, wow. So I guess our business is now valued at 296 million. That's a bit of a change, but there you go. Now I'll explain our solution architecture. So we built this with a full stack framework with React Native that works across multiple platforms, as well as our data sources, which includes Merger Market, Australian Financial Review, MYOB for the financial information, as well as, of course, OpenAI for the chatbot. For our technical architecture, we connect React to our computers, React Native with mobile apps, and use AWS systems like Cognito for authentication and security, Amazon Pinpoint for chatting, and DynamoDB again for its scalability. Now I'll pass on back.
So we expect upfront development costs to be around 50 grand, as well as total annual costs, recurring costs of 28 grand. The breakdown of the recurring costs is shown on the pie chart on the left, with marketing forming approximately half of these costs. Despite these expenses, Value Edge's first positive cash inflows in Q4 2024, which is 2 quarters after the expected launch of Value Edge. In addition, Value Edge expects to recover fully from prior year losses in Q3 2025, which is mostly incurred due to upfront development costs. When it comes to affordability and comprehensiveness, Value Edge leads the pack. Take Medano, for example. It does offer financial modeling, a reporting dashboard, and seamless data integration. However, it falls short in providing financial advice. Plus, at $99 per month, it's a hefty investment. On the other side of the spectrum, you have business brokers. They provide tailored financial advice, but at a substantial cost. Fees and commissions can rack up to an exorbitant 24 grand for a single business sale. Value Edge provides a balanced solution. We offer all of these at an affordable rate of just $40 per month.
So summarizing what benefit would Value Edge bring to SMEs? It would provide a more cost-effective structure, a more reliable valuation, user-friendly process, and timely results. So there are 4 main stages in terms of the development and launching of our product. include designing, developing, testing, and launching. And the whole process is expected. Sorry.
Keep going.
Thank you. We look forward to
Thank
answering
you.
any of your questions.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I think this feels too cruel. Finish off quickly what you were going to say, please.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, sorry, next slide, please. So as we mentioned before, like we have 4 main stages, and we are expected to finish the development and launching phases by February 2024. And our marketing plan will start with the launching phase based on the identified challenges encountered by SME, and will continue with the ongoing maintenance and updates based on the metrics such as user feedback to advertise the existing and upcoming features. So after saying that, we will have next steps in the future. So we will add in business listings in medium term and brokerage function and business to business payment in the longer term. As we move forward, we are confident that value agent would continue to drive positive changes and bring benefits to the SME firms in the future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quick question from me, then I'll pass the others. So effectively, this is disintermediating or ultimately trying to replace the role of the accountants advisory community through kind of providing at least a level of financial advice and automated financial advice based on the data that's in the MYOB ecosystem and product today, right? At a kind of most macro description.
Yeah, I mean, it can replace it, but it can also work sort of in together with accountants. The idea with our valuation model is that it allows business owners to be proactive about how much their business is worth rather than reactive. And like a lot of business sales, they actually fail even though they're trying to sell. And a part of that is that they react to conditions in the market as it comes rather than preparing for when they're going to sell, which our app does offer.
Got it. So it's primarily the advisory role to how to improve valuations, how to enhance the value of your business on an ongoing and recurring basis.
Yeah.
Got it. And that advice is provided in a timely fashion, because one thought I had is, well, I'll sign up, pay you $40, do the work, and then I click unsubscribe.
Yeah. As we explained before, there are other developments to offer a brokerage function, but that would be under a different payment structure, like similar to a what's it called? A commission fee.
A brokerage kind of model,
Yeah,
commission on transaction. Got it. Okay. Like it. Thank you. Makes sense. I get it. Kim, Shane, Darren.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Well done, team. For some tasks, large language models, such as GPT-4, they may not be the ideal solution, particularly around the ability to perform complex math. So your demo was somewhat real. Congratulations. I saw it running on localhost. Have you tested this to a degree around, calculations?
Yeah, so one issue that we did face, because we were using the ChatGPT 3.5 turbo model, is that we found a lot of drifting, and a lot of drifting does occur. Like there was this article that was released, like 95% of the calculations done by ChatGPT was correct when it first started out. But now it's only 2% that's actually getting it right. Like checking it, 1,771 is actually a prime number. It turns out that it's only correct 2% of the time. But given our math, like the limit of how like easy the math is, we're not solving pure math problems. We're not solving complex algebra. We're just doing very simple financial math, which is just plus, multiply, subtract, and divide. And that's all that there is. So in terms of that, when it comes to calculating the mathematical operations, it's not, I don't believe it will fail as bad as if we were to calculate something that was more complex.
All right. Look, I'm not a CFO like Carolyn here, but I would imagine making sure that's accurate is probably pretty important.
And again, valuation, as quoted by Asma Thamadaran, is more of an art than it is a science. So when it comes down to valuing your actual business, choosing what discount rates that you want to use, choosing what multiples, your comps, is ultimately tailored down to the individual itself. If I want to value my business to be more attractive, I use a slightly more attractive discount rate. If I wanted to be more realistic, then I would use what other industries are using. So one method.
So, question from me, if I can. So first of all, businesses always want to know how much they're worth. So I think you have honed in on something that businesses want to know. Question for me in terms of your model, though, your business model, it being SaaS and $40 a month. Do they want to know that every month in terms of how much their valuation? And so I just got to, where did the $40 per month come from in terms of particularly ongoing value? I get the broader business advice, but in terms of at least kicking off the actual business itself and the product, do I want to know my valuation every month for $40 a month?
Well, again, like it's added functionality with the valuation. This website, this web app also includes other functionality that does show like a complete overview of what my company is doing, how much money I'm making, how much money I made yesterday, how much money I made today, the active users that are coming in now, and that all connects through the back-end database. So it reads that hard data and then shows it. But for a long scope, we were thinking for the brokerage function, so the advisory function, we provide the value, and then if they do sell, then we charge a flat rate fee, and that would be making more than just what the SAS has to offer. So they'll ultimately we make more money from that in the long scope. But just given the time frame that we had to work with, this is what we came up with.
Just a thought, if I can give you a little thought bubble, is that things like comparisons, things like, your different types of valuation methodologies, that type of thing. As I said, heaps of SMEs and even mid-sized businesses would be super interested in that because that's the sort of thing they wouldn't know how to do. Rather than it being a SaaS model all on its own, actually a consumption-based model through someone like MYOB. Do you know what I mean? So you're almost white labeling this, and then that might give you the platform to then go off and do other things. But you need to make enough money to live to see another day. And you've got a really good idea here that has, I think, it's got legs for what business, mid-sized and small businesses would want to actually understand, but not every month.
Yeah. If I could add on to that, we think a major motivation for continuing the monthly fee is the fact that we have the financial advice chatbot there that can use in tandem the valuation that we have. So I don't know if we demonstrated it, but you could type into that chatbot, what are some strategies to increase my value? And it can connect to that valuation. Say you got too much, your net working capital's off, it could be reduced in order to get a better valuation when you want to sell. It could do that.
Right. Yep. Great. Thank you. Great response.
Just picking up from questions you've asked other teams today, Kim, I think you talk about segmentation. I think you could even talk about industries here. But actually, I think that it takes a certain type of business owner and to target here that wants to ask those kind of questions, engage. Who do you see what's the kind of the persona or archetype of your ideal value edge customer or user?
Yes, so basically we were targeting the small to medium enterprises. So we are targeting the broad market. So all the small to medium enterprises would be able to use this application. And we can give a quick example. For example, a hair salon, they might have, they earn revenue through their hair cutting fees, but they will have their rent, salaries, and hair products to purchase. So they might suffer from difficulties for business owners to determine the business value and maybe to sustain their business. And Value Age would use the historical data and historical trends in the data provided into our platform and offer them with the business valuation as well as the financial advice. So a business like a hair salon could actually afford this cheap application to value their own business and also derive appropriate suggestions for their unique business structure. So yeah.
Thank you. All right, was there any other questions from the judges? Well, thank you again. That was another great quality presentation. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Thanks, team.
All right, judges, we've got to do the hard bit. See you soon, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll give the judges 15 minutes. So we'll come back at 5:10 or 3:10 and AEST time.
It's not a presentation. It's not a presentation, it's a pitch. And I just want to commend many of you for actually treating it as that. So we feed off your energy. Do not underestimate how important that is in these presentations. Also, with regard to the content that was provided, so obviously we're listening to you and we're feeling you more than anything. And then obviously prior to this, we would have read the one-pages, we've gone through the presentations as well. So for everybody that put in all the effort that sat around that, thank you. And for the energy in the presentation, really hone in on that. In terms of the other piece of feedback for me, I really want to commend a number of the teams today who did two things. One, they really honed in on a customer pain point, and they presented that customer pain point such that it was compelling enough for me as a consumer to change behavior, because it needs to be not just a pain in the butt, but painful enough such that I'm going to change my behavior, put my hand in my pocket and actually dish something out for it. I also want to make sure that we had a couple of the teams here today that went to the next level in terms of understanding not just a generic customer pain point, but then actually took it down to a sub-segment level. So not just talking about small, medium enterprises, but a sub-segment, whether it's hospitality, and even not just even hospitality, but I'm going to hone in on a hospitality area in Victoria, because if I hone in on that and I go in my local area, that's how I'm going to kickstart my business. And then from there, I can expand outside of that. So really showing not only in terms of macro segmentation, but then taking it down and then saying, even I'm just going to hone in on even a localized area just to make sure I can get it right off the ground. And then the last one for me is pricing. And I know we're going to have a couple of comments on pricing, but for those that actually thought about different types of pricing models, cost per month, SaaS, that's just one form of pricing and one form of distributing your product as well. So kudos to those that actually came about with different types of pricing models. But that were comments from me.
I think Caroline, you
Caroline?
Yes, so a couple of general comments from me, and then I've got the privilege of announcing third place. We're going backwards, third, second, first. So echoing Kim's comments, you'll hear it from all of us, like just impressive, like quality of work, confidence in presentation, thoroughness, like it was genuinely, there was some fun debates and every single one of you should be incredibly proud of the work that you've done. We mean that really genuinely. If I was to pick on a couple of areas, I think of commonality of some of the things that would be areas of focus. It's very common, or most of the pitches said, we're going to kind of acquire direct consumer customers. We're going to have a social media profile. We're going to spend some money on Google search. And that is the most competitive and hard way to win customers. It's incredible. So thinking a bit more creatively about different distribution channels, different partnerships, different go-to-market models, the businesses that succeed really well are creative in how they think about those things, going viral and getting picked up on social media or spending lots of money on, Google AdWords is a pretty costly way. And there's so many businesses out there trying to do that. And so thinking about distribution channels, thinking about go-to-market channels and solving for distribution at scale is the way you win the hearts and minds of SMEs a bit more quickly to get to that scale. And I think the other thing is, I think all teams grossly underestimate the cost of building these things and the time and the screw-ups and the failures and the mistakes you're going to make along the way and the pivots and life gets in the way of what looks really simple and easy in Excel. And so just a bit more reflection on the cost base and trial error and effort in the build time and some of these things, I think would not go amiss. All of you are way too optimistic, I guess is my meta point. But I love it, a little bit of youthful enthusiasm and maybe a little bit of naivety in some of those numbers and forecasts. But anyway, drum roll, that's enough talking from me. We would like to say a super congratulations to Taltech and the Paul Robson consulting team for third place. We love the product, we love the heart. We thought your passion, we love seeing you all together in the space. We thought that you developed a really interesting niche. So congratulations, we thought you guys were fantastic and came into third place. So a round of virtual, physical, real applause. Congrats team, we thought you guys were awesome.
Thank you.
Over to you, I think Shane, are you up next? Can't find the mute button after all this time.
Exactly right, exactly. Thanks, Caro. Team, so some general feedback. Look, I'll look at this through a tech perspective. I think you should all be absolutely congratulated. Look, it definitely made me smile today, and I'm a builder at heart. Generally what I saw today, it was more than basic architecture, to the point, I was messaging people internal at Microsoft talking about how impressed I am with, what you are dishing up today. So keep at it, continue to build. It's these skills that will allow you to be successful in the real world. Be naturally curious, keep sharpening your saw. You never know, you may end up working for an organization like MYOB or Microsoft in the future. Your presentation skills are beyond your years, and obviously you're going to hone and refine this along your journey, but are very well done. Just to circle back to what Caroline was mentioning before, pricing. Now, having worked for these large tech vendors for more than a decade, I want you to have a really hard think about costs. Never underestimate how users will use your product. I'll give you a real example here. Let's talk storage. If you're charged based on storage consumed, what happens when a tiny image is used on eBay, which is a true story, right? You're probably going to pay cents, but it's going to cost a lot somewhere else, right? So back to Caroline's point on costs. And look, lastly, I spend a lot of my time these days talking about generative AI to organizations around Australia and New Zealand, talking about the art of the possible. And as I spend my time talking to these orgs, one of the biggest concerns organizations have is around, data privacy, their IP, what does the cost of a data breach cost? So, as you, may continue to iterate on your ideas, have a think about how you can, do what you do in a more secure manner. But look, other than that, I really thoroughly enjoyed spending my time with you all today. So thank you. And this was great. Okay. Judges, who is up next?
Well, Shane, I think you've got the
you need to
the second place winners as well. So
let me just ensure I get this right, team.
Don't get it wrong, Shane.
Here we go. Okay. So drum roll, please. And the second place winner is Team Geminis. Congratulations, team. Yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, guys.
Great job. Thank you. Well done. It was a really good pitch and an interesting space for us too. So I think I get to come in and announce the number one, the winner for today, but also just, my general feedback here is Again, I think the presentations were great. I love the amount of thinking that does go into this and the collaboration there and everything that's been talked about already today. One thing I will say, there's no one dimension that is going to kind of get you into a spot where you're a successful business, right? I think that a big thing is really product market fit is probably what I would focus in on. And the first thing we've got to start to think is, how do I get to that stage where I've identified a real customer problem, found a way in which to solve that problem in a way that that customer wants that problem solved and wants to pay for it. And then, to start to then find your market and grow from there. And that then starts to come back into things like cash flow. You're burning through cash every day that you aren't in market and aren't kind of growing that. And it's you only have a certain runway. And it's really important to be out there and thinking about those opportunities to first capture those customers. And sometimes that's not about having your full solution in place. It's about finding that small niche. It's finding that solution that you can start to acquire and grow with your customers too. with time. As Caroline talked about, I think on the tech side of things, it does take time to get there. And I think there's a big, one of the big things that I think about when I look through the presentations of today and previous years is really around that achievability, and that time to market is a big thing. I think that for me played a big part in the decision, for me at least, in terms of our winner for today. And I think that BHK was the one that stood out for us today. So congratulations with Waffle. That was a great idea and well suited and well presented.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Now I'm told we'll throw back to the organisers, and I think we've got a group photo first, and then we might run off into a room to do a winner's shot.
Yeah. So well, we'll take the group one now, and then we can probably just close it out. But BHK, if you can stay on, we'll put you in the room with the judges for a winners and judges shot. But Matt and Grace, if you want to take if everyone can smile for the camera, they'll take a screen grab of all of us.
Okay, I got a shot.
Perfect. So just from me, look, thank you to everyone, and obviously the judges have all shared how good the competition was today, all the presentations, all the work that you did leading up to today. As I mentioned, we had over 300 students registered, really competitive, more submissions than previous years as well. So you should all be proud of yourselves. And a big thank you to Matt and Grace and the University of Auckland Case Club, continuing to work with us for this and the work that you guys all do behind the scenes to get to this point. Matt and Grace, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, I'll start by saying thank you to all the teams today, especially Matt and I. We all saw the submissions, so it's been so amazing to see the improvements you've made, and just by seeing the pictures and presentations in person, we full-heartedly side with the judges to say it was just so impressive, especially prototypes, because we know that is definitely not easy, and you all gave such a good go at that. And then on to MYOB, thank you for sponsoring this competition and being so generous with the prize pool. And the judges, thank you for spending your afternoon judging the MYOB Digital case competition, especially giving such great feedback and insightful questions in the Q&A. And lastly, Shaylin, Matt and I have had the best time organizing the comp with you. We really appreciated all your input and contributions, and they've made the competition what it has been this year, and we're really grateful for everything that you've done behind the scenes, as you said, to make this event a success. Matt, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I can't add too much more to that, but yeah, I just want to say a massive congratulations to everyone. You should all be so proud of yourselves. You all did an amazing job today. So well done.
And I thank you for mentioning the judges. I forgot to say big thanks to the execs from MYOB for joining and every year doing so, and Shane for joining your third MYOB event in probably as many weeks. And I know the students would have all benefited from having the opportunity to present to you all.
Thank you. This is one of our favourite events of the year as well. So thank you again.
Excellent. So that closes it up. And but I'll just put, if the judges can go back into that room, and I'll add Team BHK for the last screen grab.
Well done, everyone. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.